Welcome back. Session 4 of 7. So, this is probably the most exciting part of marketing. It's called positioning, or often I refer to marketing positioning as psychological positioning because there's a lot of psychology in marketing. And even the color blue or the color yellow has a very different psychological impact. MTN yellow, for example, versus if MTN was blue, it would have a massive psychologically different impact. So we often refer to positioning as psychological positioning. And we'll look at a quick calculation on how to calculate ROI of marketing, or return on marketing investment, which is the ROI, the return on investment, due to spending money on marketing. So in this session 4, we're going to have 2 lessons and 2 activities. The 2 lessons, lesson number 1 is the psychological positioning, and we're going to look at a quick case study of a dentist who needed a lot more business. She was only seeing 3 patients a day, and she needed to have more than 3 patients a day. So we had to actually reposition her. Lesson 2, we'll do a quick calculation on how much, by spending on marketing, what is your percentage return on investment. And then we're going to do just 2 activities in this session 4. Are 2 activities. We're going to follow the case of repositioning a dentist. We'll look at that. And then you also got to check you fully understand how to calculate ROI, which is a percentage for marketing spend. We'll look at a quick case study. So in the previous session, we spoke about business to business marketing and business to consumer marketing. I'm going to show you an advert of a consumer ad, which, remember, consumer advertising, or B2C, should target the right brain, which is emotional. And this was a Coke advert launched about 5 years ago in South Africa and Mauritius. Notice the payoff line: drink Coke because taste the feeling. This is a very, very, very touchy feeling advert or emotional campaign. It was actually banned in Mauritius because it evoked primary emotional senses in people that they didn't appreciate. And this is a very interesting case study because it has nothing to do with Coke. It has everything to do with the emotions and the feelings of drinking the Coke. It's got no intrinsic value inside. In other words, it's got nothing to do with the flavor of Coke. It's got nothing to do with the ingredients. It's got to do with extrinsic things. In this case, your imagination can run wild. So this is what we call a 100% emotional campaign, which is very interesting. If we look at this, is an interesting study where they looked at 1,400 adverts over a 30-year period in the United States, consumer adverts. And we can see that the companies who said they gained a lot of profit from their advertising, 31% of those 1,400 advertisers said their ads were 100% emotional. So we can see on the left there that the vast majority of people who said that their campaigns produced good profit, 31% were emotional, and only 16% of companies who gained great profit from a campaign said they used a rational approach. And then in the middle, a combination of rational and emotional, 26% of those companies said those produced great responses, or they were reported very large profit gains from using a combination of emotional and rational. However, the clear winner here is emotional, especially when you're targeting the consumer. So the B2B adverts are very often 100% rational. However, one needs to build in emotional even into B2B campaigns. So I used to be the marketing and sales director of this global organization called YKK. If you check your zip, you'll often see the logo YKK on the pull tag. And here you can see this boring, if you like, catalog which I brought out. And this is what we call typical in B2B. We use below the line advertising. BTL stands for below the line advertising. You can do wonders with just a catalog in the hands of one of your business to business customers. In fact, or a recent study I looked at, when customers look at a business to business website, they generally, about 70% of them are just looking for your catalog. So the catalog doesn't have to be that appealing. It has to be really practical, left brain stuff, logical, systematical. What's the price? Why should I buy it? Why is the price so high? What's the return on investment? Now, let's now move on to a consumer brand, a pair of shoes. These aren't safety boots, these are fashion shoes. And the question is, do you have faith in these shoes that you're looking at? And I've done research on this particular pair of shoes. And how much would you pay for these shoes? And you're going to pay about 250 Rand for this pair of shoes. However, look what happens as soon as you put a Nike tick on the shoes. All of a sudden, the pair of shoes quadruples in price from 250 to 1,000. And I've actually done research in South Africa that just by putting the Nike tick or the Nike swoosh or the Nike logo on, so that Nike logo comes loaded with a lot of emotions that these are cool, emotions that these are good quality, emotions that people might look at me, emotions that my status goes up in society if I have these shoes on. And let's look at another consumer brand. Lion Lager was one of the sponsors of the 1995 Rugby World Cup, which South Africa won. And then Lion Lager tried to reposition themselves in the year 2000. And those of you who don't know it, but the millennial colors or the year 2000 colors are silver and light blue. They changed the logo. The marketers changed the logo of that Lion Lager to this, and it destroyed the brand overnight. And this is typically what happens to brands is it can take you 112 years to build a brand, and in 2000 it was destroyed because they positioned it or repositioned it badly. Now, this is why Anton Rupert said it takes you about 10 years to become a financial expert, but an entire lifetime to become a great marketer. And because marketing requires a lot of psychology and a lot of market research knowledge, and you've got to understand your customers, and you've also got to understand that customers might go for a particular brand for many, many different reasons. And I want to tell you the biggest thing in when it comes to B2C marketing is the color of your label or the color of the product. A lot of research has gone into this. That color is one of the first things why people will reach out for a brand in a supermarket. And so in 2019, the Lion colors came back in quite a different shape and form, and it's gaining traction again in South Africa. Now, let's look at one of the biggest disasters in the history of marketing. Besides bringing out new Coca-Cola in the 80s, I'm not going to go into that case study, but Coke changed their formula and destroyed their market. Here's a fascinating case study. Coke is a great case study, but Kodak is also a current case study which needs to be highlighted. They actually invented the digital camera and made a lot of money over the years, but they forgot to bring out the digital camera. They thought they were in the business of making films. Unbelievably, in the in the 19th century, they were actually producing and selling cameras. But then they thought, let's just focus on films. And what happened is over time, cameras didn't need films, but they were still producing films, and they were actually bankrupt in 2012. And this is a big lesson. The success of your past can completely blind you in your future. And we got to keep asking ourselves the questions. Um, the big question is, how has my target market changed? How has the market changed? They should have diversified into digital cameras, and Fujifilm were also producing film at the same time, and they diversified. Remember the Ansoff Matrix? They brought out new products, digital products, and they even brought out pharmaceutical products. And Fujifilm is live and kicking today. So Fujifilm brought out cameras that looked like old cameras, but they were actually cameras that had digital components in them. And isn't that interesting? A camera that is called Fujifilm, but doesn't actually take film. So Fujifilm cameras are mirrorless, which saves a lot of money. The last session we're going to do, session 7 of 7, we're going to talk about how can we drop our costs and deliver more value. Well, Fujifilm did this. They dropped their cost. They removed the most expensive part of the camera, which is a prism and a mirror, and their cameras are arguably superior to some cameras out there, yet they don't have mirrors inside them and expensive prisms. Fujifilm also now make Astrolift makeup. The chemical engineers and engineers they used to use on their cameras, they can now deploy on bringing out other products. And this is a great case of, this isn't related diversification. This is completely unrelated diversification, going from films to cameras to makeup. And if you had to value a brand, we call that brand equity. Now, if you valued the brand Coca-Cola, let's just say we took 3 of their brands, Coke, Fanta, and Sprite, those brands would be worth 200 billion US dollars. Okay, yet the Coca-Cola company is only worth 20 billion. Their brands, these things that exist inside your mind, that's what we call brand equity, or positioning is what you do to the minds of consumers. This Coca-Cola brand exists inside people's minds, and if you had to buy the brand Coke, Fanta, and Sprite, you'd pay about 200 billion for the brand. Yet if you bought the company, it's only worth 20 billion, which is fascinating. And that's how powerful marketing can be. That you can build a brand that is worth more than the company. The Apple logo, just the logo itself, the Apple logo is worth about 200 billion US dollars. So the logo can be more expensive if you bought it than the actual company. So let's get back to basics here. Consumers have problems. They need to buy a camera. And when you're buying a camera, you're not actually buying a camera. What are you buying? You're actually buying a memory. Let's think about it. What are the real needs and wants? The real needs and wants is you're looking for a device that takes a memory, a picture that you can keep and post and forward to somebody or put in a photo album. And so we got to go back to basics, which is research. We've got to research what is the problem of the consumer. In other words, what are their needs and wants? And in marketing, we say their needs and wants need to be fulfilled through our value proposition. And our value proposition is just simply the 8 P's of marketing. So the 8 P's, when you mix them up well, the right product at the right price becomes valuable to the consumer. It meets their needs and wants, and if it meets their needs and wants, it fixes the problem. And in other words, the 8 P's or the value proposition is just a solution to the consumer's problem or the business person's problem. Now, in brackets there, I want you to really understand that this value proposition we often call our competitive advantage, or the value proposition is often called our unique selling proposition, or the value proposition is often called our differentiation or our distinctiveness. And my favorite one is, what is your point of difference? Why must I buy you as opposed to your competitor? So I love the term POD. What is your POD? And if you don't have a POD, you will go out of business. And let's look at this case study next about a dentist. True story, this dentist phoned me up and said, please, I need a marketing consultant. And I walked into a practice and I said, oh my goodness, are you serious? You are actually spending money to go out of business. You cannot have a rotten tooth on your business card, and the color of your business card is completely wrong. And in 3 minutes, I said, your business card should look like the one on the right. And so we got to go from that image and reposition you to that image, which we did. Immediately, we changed a website. The background of a website was yellow to match the picture on the left. And let me tell you, at an unconscious level, yellow does not say you're going to have good teeth. We don't like the picture at the top. We don't like the picture on the left. Let's reposition you like this. And you can also book her online. And almost instantly, she did not know what to do with the flood of customers coming to her door. So, believe it or not, it's actually quite simple to work out the return on investment for doing all of this for the dentist. And let's take you through this. So, a dentist hired a marketing consultant at 3,000 Rand, that's roughly 3 hours, a search engine optimization consultant for 3,000 Rand, and a graphic designer for 10,000 Rand to redo all the images on a website. Now, we can add all of that up, and it's quite simple. She spent 16,000 Rand on marketing, and she conservatively estimated she attracted 450 new patients a year for spending the 16,000 Rand. Each patient on average spent about 900 Rand with her, so we could go 450 times 900, brought in 405,000 Rands new business, and this is many years ago. Calculate the return on marketing investment for the 16,000 Rand. It's quite simple. Now, the return on marketing formula says you need to put over the net profit on the top of the formula and divide at the bottom by how much money you spent. So now we first have to work out the net profit. Now, the net profit here would look like this. It's the 405,000 that she makes gross per year times by her margin. She estimates that her gross profit percentage is 50%, or her GP is 50%. So we times the 405 by 0.5. So that isn't all profit, the 405,000. So we times 405 by 0.5, subtract the 16,000 that you spent, gives you a net profit of 186,000 on the top, divided by the marketing spend 16,000 times by 100 over 1, and the return on that 16,000 is 1,165% in just year one. If you go into the return on investment of spending that 16,000 Rand 10 years ago, the return on investment is literally telephone numbers. A very, very powerful tool to use as a manager is the ROI, or in this case, the ROMI, return on marketing investment formula. So I hope you learned a lot in this session, and we're going to be moving on to session 5 of 7 now. We're going to look at an advanced SWOT analysis and then your macro and micro environmental analysis to discover your issues. Remember, what are issues? Issues are simply things that will stop you achieving your objectives.